with some signs, and we're cleaning up a little easement and some things like that. Of course, we're always working on this problem in our neighborhood. We're excited this year because we have all the data from our plan. We have all these parking violations and trouble and people parking their cars in our driveways, but I feel like we have some really good tools, and we're really thankful for Matt Taylor's help here. These are the reasons that we get involved, and we're thankful for everybody's help, and we're glad that our neighborhood comes out and does stuff together. Okay.
Any questions for Celeste?
How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Since '97. I bought a house there in '02. I think it was '02. Yeah.
It just seems longer because you've been involved the whole time.
Yeah, it's really great. In fact, the program that we used to buy our house was something that the city council helped with those years ago from what was called neighborhood housing services at the time. But some of the things and some of the paint your heart outs that we were involved in. And at the time, my husband worked at BYU, and we really wanted to live here, but it was really difficult to be able to afford something like that with his salary. Anyways, I am so thankful for that. And I try to do everything to pay it back. Thanks.
George?
I just wanted to congratulate you on your being elected as the neighborhood chair, and ask if the Provo City Lab, is that Jamin Rowan's class?
Yes. Yeah, it was the Provo City Lab that helped us do the appendix. It was really great.
A great partnership, I think, between BYU and the community. Jamin is an American literature professor.
Yeah.
But he specializes in urban literature, and these are students getting great experience. And sounds like they're making a difference in the community.
And to tell you the truth, 2 of the students that were helping that are now vice chairs, and one of them, actually 2 of them we used all last year. They've been really great and have helped us with the Atheist thing, the mural at the Bike Collective and everything. So this is fabulous. So thanks.
Celeste, thank you. As I look at the challenges that you face, yeah, you've got some challenges in that neighborhood without question. And I'm always impressed with the attitude that you guys face those challenges in your neighborhood, and I appreciate that.
Thanks. It was a long time coming to get to a good attitude. It takes a while to kind of see how everything goes together and and start to gather people that are all thinking about the same thing, and then you can really do a lot once you have that. So,
thank you very much.
Sure, thanks.
We will now look for the approval of minutes for the December 5th, 2017 council meeting. Are there any objections or requests for changes to those minutes? If there are none, I declare these minutes approved by unanimous consent. We now have a presentation of the Mayor's Award of Excellence. Mayor Kafusi.
City Council and citizens and fellow employees here at the city offices, I am just so thrilled to be able to do this tonight. Apparently, it doesn't get done very often, and sometimes I push the envelope a little, I'm not going to lie. I've been in office for not that long, and we are going to honor the most wonderful woman that has contributed to the city. And after I started reading about her, honestly, I had a hard time getting it down to the small because there's so much goodness. Now, Nedra, I don't know if you're comfortable standing while I talk about you, or are you okay? If you're fine, and you can hold my hand, and we can hug. Whatever you
Thank you.
need. But
Thank
let me, Spotlight comes up here, and I just want to read all these great things you've done, which are only a few. I couldn't fit them all in. You're
Okay.
just so wonderful.
Well,
So we would like to recognize Nedra Bell for her many years of dedicated service in improving mental health education in Provo. Nedra's service has touched the lives of literally thousands of Provo residents. Nedra moved to Provo in 1997 and in 1998 when she heard about NAMI, which is the acronym for the National Association for the Mentally Ill. She began attending their meetings to obtain support as the parent of a son with schizophrenia. NAMI was so helpful to Nedra that she had that Provo give back in her that she volunteered and served as vice president for 6 years, and then as president for another 6 years. Since serving as president, she has continued to volunteer in a variety of capacities. Under her leadership and service, she advanced NAMI's impact in mental health advocacy and became involved in many other mental health-related efforts in Provo, including serving on Intermountain Healthcare's committee that founded an annual mental health awareness night, which attracts more than 400 clergy, doctors, community members, and families. Hundreds of religious leaders have participated in the fair, and by doing so, have more effectively ministered to the tens of thousands of religious congregants who suffer from mental illness and their families. So that's number one. Here's number two. Serving on the board of Wasatch Mental Health as a community representative, she worked tirelessly to help raise money for the new Wasatch House, a beautiful building that has increased the community's ability to serve Provo's mentally ill. Implementing NAMI's Hope for Tomorrow. I don't know why. They've never had a mayor that tears up so much. I don't know. Is it because I'm a woman, the first woman? Yeah. I'm sorry, but it's just so tender to me. All your volunteer hours. Thank you. Implementing NAMI's Hope for Tomorrow at Timpview High School, which I'm just going to add, all of 5 of my children have been involved and engaged, and they still wear their Hope sweatshirts, and it's very impactful in the high school. So thank you. Focused on raising awareness and skills to address teenage eating disorders, suicide, drug, and alcohol abuse. And that's number 3. And we have to limit it to 6. We could have gone on forever. But number 4, she's has organized hundreds of support groups, classes, training fairs, and speaking at several events and conventions, including bringing mental health awareness to veterans, their wives, and families, coordinating with state mental health efforts, and advocating with Utah state legislators to provide enhanced services to the mentally ill, especially advocating for dental and eye care. And 6, and finally, answering thousands of calls over the past 17 years, listening and supporting individuals, family members, clergy, and mental health providers. As one mother in tears said of Nedra's work, "After 45 years, I no longer blame myself for my son's mental illness." It goes without saying that Nedra Bell's service to our community. My husband always tells me, cry at home, don't cry in public, and I'm breaking the rule again. Has not only increased mental health awareness, but it has helped countless families understanding their mentally ill children and siblings. It's increased clergy's understanding of how to minister more effectively and has provided immeasurable support, saving the lives of Provo's mentally ill. I'd like to formally recognize Nedra with the Mayor's Award of Excellence, the first time, and I'm for her for 17 years of selfless and heartfelt service.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's invite her family to come up, and why don't we get a picture of her with her family? And let's get a nice photo, and come on down. Yep, you're a star. So, family members, come on up.
We're gonna stand over here so we don't have this. Okay, I have the family cameras right here, and I can't see a smaller person behind you in the DJ. There we are. Okay, I'm ready. It's working. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay.
I see something.
Mr. Sewell, you had a comment.
If I might just add one thing, I was surprised and delighted to see Ned Rebell's name on the Mayor's Award of Excellence on the program tonight. His son George and wife Leslie and their family have lived next door to us for, I can't even keep track of how long, several decades now. Just the most wonderful family you would ever want to have be your neighbors. And I'm sure they would testify that you could add to all the good things that you heard tonight, that Ned Rebell's a wonderful mother and grandmother. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to item number 2, a presentation of the 2017 Employee of the Year, presented by Captain Beebe.
Good evening. I'm Captain Beebe. I'm over the Patrol Division, and it's an honor for me to present in behalf of Chief Ferguson. Travis Bushman has been employed with the police department for almost 13 years now. He's been an animal control officer. He's been a patrol officer. He's had several special teams within the Patrol Division. He has, in speaking with him earlier, I think that his best and funnest time as a patrol officer has been on the bike, where he's closer to the community, and on a bicycle. And as he's enforced that, really been a part of the community in doing that special team. Travis is selfless. As you can see from the photographs, he wears his badge with honor. It is an honor for him to wear a badge of public trust. And in doing so, he exemplifies what a police officer should be. And his selflessness is exemplary. And as you can see, he's in these pictures. It's very difficult at times, but he finds the time to be that selfless police officer. And Travis has his family is very, very important to him. As a police officer, he shows loyalty. He has a sense of duty. He's respectful to the people that he works with and the community that he serves. He is, like I said, selfless. He's honorable. he has integrity, and above all, he has personal courage and the ability to be a leader in our community. He does those things not because of recognition, and I think he would be the first to say that. He does those things because it is the right thing in his eyes, for the right thing to do. It is my honor to present Travis Bushman with the 2017 Employee of the Year.
Thank you. Can we come down? Should we do more pictures again and take another quick picture? If we got somebody that's going to take it for us, they do.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything you do.
Black right. Excuse me.
We've now come to the public comment portion of this meeting. For your information, items number 5 and 6 have been continued to March 6th, so we will not be having a public hearing on those today. If you're interested in commenting on those, feel free to do so during the public comment portion here. Item 7, the applicant has requested some significant changes to the application, so we're sending it back to the Planning Commission for another recommendation. And we will now see, as indicated on the screen, so we won't be hearing item number 7 either at this point. So if you would like to comment on item number 7, this is the time to do so for that. As indicated on the screen, the required public hearing will be held for certain agenda items prior to the council action. After each such item has been presented, time to comment will be provided for all those who wish to speak. For those items not requiring a public hearing, public comment will still be taken following the presentation of the item, but will be limited to 10 minutes. This time, 50 minutes have been set aside for open public comment period, which is intended to allow comment on matters that do not appear on the agenda. Persons who speak during this time to an item that is on the agenda will not normally be afforded a second opportunity to speak during the comment period specific to that item. During any public comment period, each speaker will generally be limited to 2 minutes. Additional time may be given to individuals specifically invited to speak, such as applicants, neighborhood chairs, or others that may be representing additional persons. Please begin your comments by stating your name and the city of residence, and due to noticing requirements, no formal action will be taken in this meeting on matters that do not appear on the agenda. Melanie, you can start us.
I listened with interest to the broadcast of the retreat and heard my name mentioned. That George Stewart suggested that we need to be careful about who we listen to when it comes to public comment, because, you know, Melanie McCord, she talks all the time. I didn't take it personally. I would like to know from this council how you would like to hear from me. Would you like to hear from me in public comment, or would you rather that I email you? Would you prefer that I send that to everyone or just to you? What would you like me to do here? I would like some direction. I have one thing, for instance, that I'd like to talk to you about, and that was something that occurred at work session today. You had a report from Community Development from Bill Pepperoni and Gary McGinn about the West Side Planning Committee, but you had no members of that committee here. I posted and heard back from 3 of the members of that committee. They really wished that they had been invited to participate in that briefing. This is the second time that a neighborhood committee has been dismissed before reporting to the council. When the Southeast Area Committee met, same thing. They met for 6 months, they prepared all of their recommendations, gave them over to staff, and then when the report came to council, that Citizens Committee was not included in the reporting, in the briefing. They weren't there to have questions, they weren't there to make any contradictions of the staff. That's a trend that has been occurring with the council for the last few years. And that is that in work session, when you get your briefings, you do not invite all of the people who could be giving you information. You invite staff, and the reports from other people who have other things to say, you don't hear them. I think in order for you to be a truly independent and separate body from the administration, you need to be more careful who you invite to work sessions and make sure that your citizens committee have access to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council, I want to let you know it was my distinct honor to meet with the Mayor Orem. And Provo is getting into a new era and a great era. And I think things are going to look good for this town. And let me just say, I know I sound like President Donald John Trump Sr., but I have felt this way, and all of you have heard this from Gerald Clark Memmott. Let us make Provo great again. Let us make Provo strong again and economically powerful again. I just want to say I support it, and I've had some, but I look at things I hope Provo's doing. And I live at 584 South, 300 West. That is all I have to say.
Thank you, Gerald.
Pam Jones. I'm one of the neighborhood vice chairs for Edgemont Neighborhood. I've been in correspondence with most or all of you on the dais the last couple of days. I'm concerned about all the people who like to promote walkability and bikeability and so on in the city. Personally, I'm a dedicated car driver, but I do walk sometimes. There are some places that I've noticed where there is not a curb or sidewalk, and it's not safe for pedestrians. I live on Canyon Road, about a mile above the stadium, and whenever there's a football game, I notice there are a lot of people walking toward the stadium. And of course, those who walk there generally walk home. Not only football games, but Stadium of Fire. And there are a couple of spots along Canyon Road that are just gravel or dirt. Now, the closer you get to the stadium, the more people park along the side of the road. And it makes it even more dangerous to walk there because Canyon is not a wide road. There was one unfortunate day where somebody who was obviously a Utah fan parked right in front of my house with a red car and all kinds of stickers and flags and stuff. And I had some unkind thoughts about that person. And I recently have asked if we couldn't get more of the roads fixed around the stadium. BYU never provides enough parking. And I got an email from Dave Sewell and from Diane Brian Torgerson, I'm not sure which department he is, but he listed a bunch of the improvements that have been made around the stadium. Stadium Avenue, which is on the north side of the stadium, has been closed off for some time for extensive road work. And I drove around the neighborhood yesterday, and a lot more improvements have been made than what I thought, but there are still some bad spots on Canyon Road between 3650 North and 2230 North.
Thank you, Pam.
And I hope the city will continue to fix those spots with sidewalk and provisions for parking. Thanks.
Stay with the administration and us on that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanae Henry. I live in the Maeser Neighborhood. David Harding is my representative. I'm here. I have started a program in Provo called the Provo Girls Summit for girls ages 8 to 12. We have a huge ally in Mayor Kafusi this year, and we're thrilled about that. But I came here specifically to invite all of you council members to come out and see what we have going on. It is on March 8th, International Women's Day. It is at the Provo Library, and we have 29 female professionals ranging from civil engineers, veterinarians, doctor. I was actually just up in Lehigh today with IM Flash, and we will have 2 of their engineers as well. And we're just thrilled about it. Tickets went on sale. They went live on Saturday. There are 600 available. When I last checked, there were 577 claimed. So there is a large interest in activities and further education in career options for young women here. And I think it's something that we should pay a lot of attention to. I also think that the more education we give our young women provides adult women with more options and availability to the community and as contributors in all kinds of ways. So I have invitations for you. I'm sorry, but I don't know.
No, that's fine. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Hi, I'm Christy Danner, and I live over in the, everything just left me. Let's see, where do I live? We're on item 5. So there is being continued next time. I'm sorry, my brain. I just wanted to let everybody know, I have a petition that I took around this last week, and you should all have a copy of it in your email. That's what I wanted to let you know and why I'm up here, about the building going on 5th South and State Street. I know that's continued, but it was a very small area. I was able to get to my granddaughters and we were the only ones out, and I just wanted to make sure that you all knew what to look for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Denner. Okay, seeing no other. Oops. Oh, we got one more.
My name is Lynn Henriksen. I live just north of Stadium Avenue. And about a year ago, we had a neighborhood meeting, and they told us about all the construction that would be going on there and what a mess it would be. And they were absolutely right. It's been a mess, but in the end, it's been very much worth it. We're very grateful we have sidewalks on both sides of the street now. It will help a lot with the football games and the traffic there, but also help with children going to church, going to school, not having to crisscross across the busy road. So I just I'm not an official representative of the neighborhood. I'm just a member, and I happen to be here tonight, but I think I represent the neighborhood in saying thank you for a job well done. The contractors worked with the neighbors, with the residents very nicely, and making sure their yards were landscaped, re-landscaped. Everything looks good, so thank you.
Thank you. That was quite a project. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? If not, then we will close this portion of our meeting and move to item number 3, a resolution consenting to the mayor's appointment of Karen Larsen as the Director of Customer Service for Provo City. And Mayor Kafusi, do you have anything that you'd like to say on this one?
Just that I'm so thrilled that she took the appointment of this new position. She will be our first female director ever in the history of Provo City and is more than deserving and has proven herself over and over again. So just want to say congratulations, and I'm just so thrilled for you and your team.
Karen, would you stand up? I know you don't want to necessarily walk all the way up, but thank you. Does the council have anything that they would like to say at this point? Dave?
I'd like to express appreciation for the way that you've led the customer service division these past years and the great service that you provide the residents of Provo, and you have my full confidence, and I'm looking forward to your work as the department director.
George?
I've known and worked with Karen for years and years, and there's no one more deserving of being department director than Karen, so congratulations, Karen.
I thought you were the department director. I didn't know. So I'm just grateful for you, Karen. Thank you for all you've done for us. Dave?
Just wanted to express my appreciation also, Karen. I know this is in some ways the same position for you, but I like that we've elevated customer service to department level status, because in a way the department you represent is sort of our face to the city. So thank you so much.
Okay, no other discussion? We will look for, I don't know that we have that on here. It's not here. Brian, do we need any public comment? This is one that we don't have public comment on necessarily.
Well, we don't, and we have not traditionally taken public comment on appointments previously. It did show on the slide that comment would be allowed, because I think just because of the practice last year of taking comment on on every item, but we have not historically taken comment on appointments.
And that's, I think that there's some wisdom in that. And so I think we're gonna, if anyone has any comments for us, we'd be glad to hear them at some point. And so I think we'll look for a motion on this one. George?
I move that we accept the resolution consenting to the mayor's appointment of Karen Larsen as Director of Customer Service for Provo City.
I'll second that, even though I think we do have an implied motion.
We do.
I knew we did, but I wanted to make the motion anyway.
And I thought so. And so, but we will, any discussion on this motion? If not, we'll call for a vote. Is this a favor vote? It's a favor vote. It's consenting to the resolution. So that's unanimous. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 4, an ordinance amending Provo City Code to clean up inconsistencies and correct references to the residential design standards. Aaron Ardmore will present this.
Thank you. So we were here 2 weeks ago to discuss these proposed amendments dealing with primarily section 1434-285 and 1434-287, which are different design standards for different zones in the city. At the hearing 2 weeks ago, you all asked that staff goes back and gets information and feedback from different developers, different groups, and we were able to do that. And we actually want to thank you for that recommendation. We got a lot of good feedback, a lot of notes that I think we could incorporate into the ordinance. Just a few of those names we heard back from Deere Horton, PEG, Nelson Brothers Realtors, Habitat for Humanity, NeighborWorks, and the Housing Authority. A lot of the feedback had to do with affordability. There was some concern over the standards proposed in 287 being a little too stringent, making it so it's harder to build an affordable product. A couple points on that that staff actually agreed with that we would be in favor of changing is bringing the fiber cement products from a minor material up to a major material. We think that makes sense with today's market. There's some other concerns there where I thought maybe I should clarify the applicability of these standards. In 287, it's referring to essentially 5 or 6 different zones, not single-family housing. So these standards wouldn't apply to single-family housing in 287, and it doesn't apply to stuff in the downtown zones. So I think some of the concerns came from ideas of well, we couldn't build this downtown, or this affects this new subdivision. These standards apply to your low density, medium density, high density residential zones, a campus mixed use zone, shopping center zone, and a couple pro zones that we have in the city. So I wanted to clarify that. Because of some of the feedback that we've had over the past couple of days, some of it was actually received this afternoon, staff would actually ask for a continuance where so we could actually address some of these things that were sent back to us and try to incorporate them into the proposal, change some of the wording, change some of the standards to have something that I think everybody could agree with. We definitely don't want to try to force something through that none of the developers in the city are happy with. So that's kind of where we're at right now, but we'll take your recommendation of how to move forward.
Thank you. Questions for Aaron, or any discussion that you'd like to have as a council? Dave?
So I asked for this to be continued and asked for the input of some of the organizations, and I'm glad that you heard back, and I'm pleased that you're looking at changing.
Thank you.
A question on that, would you, as far as making changes and looking to that, would that mean we'd have to go back to Planning Commission for another recommendation? Are you looking to that, or it depends on what you get back?
That's up to you all. I mean, they wouldn't be giant substantial changes. They'd be changes in moving materials to different areas, maybe changes in percentages, things like that. But essentially, the language still works. So, I mean, it's up to you.
And this was received, asked to be approved by the Planning Commission already?
It was, as is, yeah.
As is, okay. So, Brian, do we need Kay, do you have a question?
And Brian will be the authority. If it is up to us, I'd suggest that they come back with the changes without going back to Planning Commission, taking their time and work, and taking Planning Commission's time, because I think it'll be some real specific items that we've already talked about a little bit, so.
You think we can handle it on our own?
Bring it back. I don't think we'll
Okay.
do a Planning Commission.
Brian, do we need a motion to do that then? Oh, thank you. Before we do ask for a motion on that, we'll open it to public comment.
Sounds good.
And then we'll get your recommendation on how to handle this. Is there any public that would like to comment on this?
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Jorgensen, and I represent NeighborWorks Provo. And I would just like to tell you thank you for asking for a continuance and for Aaron offering a continuance. just until we can see exactly what is being written and said before a vote is cast on this to approve it. So I would just like to say thank you, and I appreciate your diligence in this matter. As affordable housing providers, you know, we just don't want those that are less fortunate to be affected negatively by this ordinance change. So I appreciate all of your input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Deanne Hewish with Utah Valley Home Builders Association, and we deeply appreciate you putting this off for another couple of weeks to look at it more. We understand about the affordability problems that are happening everywhere, just like you've been working on your work sessions. And also, this has some factors into it. There's other kinds of components and other materials that need to be looked at, so we're thankful that you'll take a second look with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanne. Aaron, are we looking for a specific date, or are we just waiting for you to bring it back to us?
If you wanted to schedule it to the next meeting, I think we could have a proposal ready by then, but it's up to you.
We'll wait to hear from you. That way it'll make sure, but we can, Brian, what do you?
Yeah, I was just going to say that with regard to the question about whether you need a motion, if you're going to do anything other than vote on the implied motion, then you do need a motion to state whatever it is that you do want to do. And so you could continue it to a date certain, or you could continue it indefinitely with the idea that the council chair would put it back on the agenda when staff lets him know that it's ready.
Okay, did you have something?
I just wanted to ask Aaron, those comments from the public now, both of those people, are they on your list to get comments from?
No. So we'll try to get their information.
Connect with them then and
yeah.
See if we can get their input. Okay, thank you.
Dave?
I appreciate that comment, and I would like to make sure, I mean, you talked about the changes may be minor, but I hope that there is a good discussion, a good robust discussion, and my preference would be for it to go back to Planning Commission. They have some expertise that at least I feel that I don't have, and I would like to see the recommendation. And I wonder, you know, we had some people that had come here for public comment, and now they're kind of withholding, not knowing what the changes are going to be. So I hope that we do go through a public process and reach out so we can incorporate those, any concerns that they have. I guess I should, speaking with Mr. Jones earlier, it probably does not reach a level where it's required, but I do want to mention I have a brother who works for a company that builds student housing, and they haven't done anything in Provo while he's been an employee, but there's a possibility in the future. So I do want to mention that. I'm very grateful that community development is taking a second look at this and incorporating the builder information. I think that's wonderful. I fully support that. I do want to kind of just voice a counter argument slightly, you know, just to balance as we're listening to all of the other voices as well. I do feel that Provo is a premium place to build, and you know, I think it's okay to have higher standards than some other places. I hope that we build with quality, and you know, that where those lines are, what those standards are. I'm glad that we're having those conversations, but I do support quality building, because the buildings that we build will be with us for decades. And then the last thought about how this affects affordability. The land prices is a variable, and land prices are set based on what the market, you know, what the market will accommodate. And I'm saying this very poorly, I apologize, but basically land prices may be higher, and if there are some additional requirements, the land prices may need to come down in order to to balance that market demand. So if we have these standards that do increase the cost of building, it may not be a 1-to-1 ratio for increasing the cost of the housing, because it may just lower the land prices. So anyway, just as you're going through that, please balance all of those different interests.
I guess the only thing that I'm wondering about now would be a date certain for those that would be interested, so that they won't miss. Maybe should we do does the council have any request for a date certain, or would you like to leave it open? I'll look for a motion.
I'm just concerned that everyone that hasn't already been part of the process become part of the process, and so I'm not sure if just saying 2 weeks is adequate for them to be heard and for their concerns to be considered. And so I'd be more inclined to wait until community development is ready.
Yeah, I want to second that. I think in the spirit of what Mr. Harding was saying, I think if we just go through the process in the formal way, the public will be actually be given the opportunity to be more a part of the process than otherwise. So, and I think we want to get it right. We want to balance affordability with quality and make sure that we're not unduly restricting certain markets. I sort of sense that the Planning Commission, I mean, it was a unanimous vote, right, in support of the earlier version, and I don't think the conversation about affordability even came up. So at least I don't remember until today that it had come up. And so I think I'd be interested to know what their opinion on that is and make sure that they're thinking about that as well.
Okay, then we will look for a motion.
In light of the comments, I would move that we actually send it back to the Planning Commission after staff has come up with their best recommendation, and that the discussion include affordability along with the quality.
I second that. No, sorry, I jumped the gun.
Second, any discussion? Can we see what the recommendation is before we say we're going to send it back, or should we wait? Because we don't even know what the recommendation that we'd be sending back would be.
Well, you know, if the Planning Commission didn't really have a good, robust discussion about both affordability and the quality, maybe they should. So by sending it back, regardless of what changes are made, then they can have that discussion. So that's why I made the motion.
Okay, do you have any comment on that?
I'm just a little concerned that we're turning this discussion and this particular part of our ordinance into a affordability discussion when it's more of a design element. And I know they're related, but I think the questions that have already been brought up are some small things that will have some impact on affordability, but I don't know that we want to have this big, long affordability discussion regarding this, unless there's no urgency to pass this. If there's no urgency, if this is a cleanup type thing, maybe it doesn't matter and we can have that. I just don't know that this is the place to have the affordability discussion.
Is there any urgency, Aaron, that you see?
We would like to get something passed with this before the next big project comes in in one of these zones. So there is some urgency to it, I'd say.
Okay, we have a motion and a second right now. Mr. Harding?
A question for Mr. Jones. At what point is this protected with a pending legislation that would, or how would that affect the urgency?
That's a good point. Well, the pending legislation would certainly apply. The question is, what are the details of that application? I'm not sure that if somebody comes in tomorrow with a proposal that proposes using some material that is not yet on the list but is added to the list 2 weeks from now, then the pending legislation rule might not apply to that specific situation. We'd have to think about that. But certainly to the degree that this is legislation that is currently being considered. When did this first go to the Planning Commission?
In December. It was noticed for the first December meeting.
Okay, so we've got until June with regard to that specific rule. So.
And since I think we're only talking about opening up the list, and I would hope that this would not turn into a very long discussion, but hopefully this could be resolved in a matter of weeks. Anyway, but thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? And we have a motion on the table and a second.
Can we restate the motion?
Dave, would you restate your motions?
The item after staff is ready, go back to the Planning Commission and they have a discussion on the new changes and why they were changed, which would include, I guess, a discussion about those groups that want the changes because of affordability concerns. And maybe I don't know if they care about affordability, but it has been raised.
Aaron, any other comments? Okay, then we will call for a vote on that motion. Those in favor? Those opposed? Those in favor would be George Stewart, George Handley, Gary Winterton, Dave Harding, Dave Sewell, and Dave Connect. Those opposed would be Kay Van Buren. And Mayor Kafusi, we need to have a discussion sometime about ice cream. We are now.
Oh my word, that's right. I was just telling Wayne, I don't want to go home to my house. This is too early.
We overshot by 3 minutes this time, but we got to talk.
Let's talk.
Okay, so we have an implied motion on the table to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Okay, we are adjourned.
Here's some of Gerald's love notes.
Thank you.
I'll just keep putting them in my doorway.
Thank you.